Hello and good afternoon, Xbox Nation. I am back. Yes, that is correct, ladies and gentlemen. I landed yesterday at just before 7 p.m., got home a little after 8 o'clock. Took me about an hour and 10 with traffic to get home, but I am here and we are going to start now putting up the content that I have recorded. It's a little slow because the video software that I normally use does not have the correct codec, so I'm having a bit of an issue. So I'm going to have to use something that I've only used once before, and that's Clipchamp, which works pretty good. So all of the footage that I have recorded that was, I was ass and seat for will be up in the next few days. I do ask that you. I know that listen, YouTube, the way it works is if you're first, fastest first is the way it works, and I just couldn't do it on my PC that I brought with me. So I am going to be putting up tons of content starting later today through the rest of the week, and I have trailers and fan reactions to everything. You've already seen my fan reaction for Gears, and I have the a few others that I think are going to be really cool to see in person. But wow, what a show on Sunday. And well, we're here to talk about that. We're here to talk about, give our hot takes on the showcase. And then we're going to get into this exclusivity conversation that has been all the rage. And a lot of a lot of people on both sides are both excited and angry. And we're going to get into that. But Jamie, how are you feeling? And wow, what a show, man.
Yeah, man. I'm happy to be here. And it's what a great few days, man. And look, there's so many games that's been announced over the past few days. I just can't wait to play. And I think it may have been the best. Summer Games Fest alone, I think it was the best one, like the best one Jeff's ever done.
Yes, I absolutely agree there.
And the Xbox show, great. It's just been a great week. Nintendo just had their direct. I can tell you a bunch of their games, those games that also come to Xbox. So I'm a pretty happy chappy at the minute.
I mean, there's a lot to get excited about. Xbox is back in a big way. Exclusives are back in a big way. We know for a fact, thanks to an interview with Matthew Ball, that this is not a one-off. This isn't a wham bam, thank you, man kind of situation, just to kind of get people excited and go back to the old ways. But you know what? We're going to get into all of that. Umbra, how you feeling, brother? Welcome back.
Sorry, it was muted. Yeah, welcome, everyone. Exactly. I'm feeling great. I'm just getting back up. I had to take a nap before I got in. I was tired, but I am feeling great about the showcases. All of the showcases, actually, this season here. I think we had a lot of good stuff, and we have a lot of great stuff to look forward to. I'm loving a lot of what I saw. So yeah, great. Saw so many images of you guys out there. By the way, boom, looked like you all were having a ball out there. I saw
It
you all
was something. Yeah. It was a lot of fun. Yeah.
Yeah, happy to be here today with you all, of course. Shout out to the chat. No slander of UE. UE will ever be tolerated when you got such a beautiful game like E-Day on screen. I've seen replies and such. I even seen Jamie who said that I believe, if I'm not incorrect, that E-Day was the most beautiful game he's ever seen in his 20 plus years of gaming.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that's what Unreal Engine does to you, brother.
Yep. Eyeballs melted.
Yes.
I remember I had said that. So when I spoke to my my contact, I said, all he told me is you're not ready. And well, I think he was right.
Yes, sir. It was beautiful. We'll get into it.
Well, you know what? Let's just get right into the showcase. So, once again, I do want to say publicly a big thank you to Xbox for recognizing Double Barrel Gaming and getting us in there. I happened to find a seat dead center, right in the middle. I think I was like, 9 or 10 rows from the screen. It was like literally finding that perfect spot in the movie theater to see your favorite film. And wow, what a film it was. We got a ton of games, 28 in fact, 28 games in total. which again, when I make this into a video, I will throw up on the screen so you can see. Now, of course, there were some smaller games there, like the Bad Magpie, for instance, but that seemed to really resonate with a lot of people because there are a lot of gamers that really enjoyed the goose game where you were an a-hole goose. I played a little of it. It was funny. So I really think that game is going to hit also coming to Xbox Game Pass, which is awesome. But yeah, it was.
Is that Goose Game the one you have like the co-op thing where you have to move like the objects around or something?
No, that was there's something like that with eggs. It's like I think something with eggs, but the goose game you were like an a-hole goose and you ran into people's like you attacked humans.
Oh, I remember. I know
you remember that one.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, listen, they showed 28 games and it looked incredible. But you know what? Listen, let's just jump right into the showcase itself. And I'm going to write to Jamie Moran. Jamie, this is, we always say this, like, wow, that was an amazing showcase. They showed a lot of games. But I got to be honest with you. I think it's safe to say that this was probably the best showcase they have put together since 2020. And, if you guys and gals remember, what did I say about Matt Booty's interview about the whole 12 months thing? What did I say? And I'm going to say it publicly on the air. I didn't like it. I did not like it. Why didn't I like it? Well, because I was hoping to see something a little further out. But then this showcase happens, and I will say publicly, I was wrong. I was wrong because everything that they showed in this showcase is coming out in the next 12 months. That's State of Decay 3. That is Clockwork Revolution. Right? Those are two big ones for next year. There are a couple others. We'll get into them as we talk about the showcase. But the fact that everything shown here this past Sunday will be out between this June and next June already lines up 2027 to be a banger of a year. But Jamie Moran, I want to get your thoughts on this, brother. What did you think of Xbox's Showcase 2026?
Oh, it was great. I can't complain. They had a bunch of games I was interested in anyway. There was some games that I've never heard of before, which I'm definitely getting now. For instance, that Magician game. I think it's called Magician something. I can't remember, but it's basically
I'm going to pull it up.
First person Magician Bioshock. Yeah,
yes.
Love the look of that. Persona 6 is huge. Huge to be a day one Game Pass game. The whole show I just really enjoyed, and like opening up with Gears. Like, look, I know to say Gears was my favorite thing of the show seems like an easy cop out, but that game just incredible. It's funny whenever people talk about Xbox, people always say they need more quality games. You don't get more higher quality than that. Like that game was everything I could have wanted from a Gears of War game. A new one, like changing the movement system completely, like jumping onto a shelf. Like the fact that someone jumping onto a shelf blew my mind. Like, because you don't really see people in Gears of War move like that. Just everything about it, like the whole show, I've really enjoyed. And Clockwork Revolution, I've been rambling on about for like 3 years because I love RPGs, and that game, it's everything I want from a first-person RPG like that. And that game's look better and better and better every time they've showed it off. And as people know, I'm kind of a fan of Mass Effect, so I like games where RPGs and your choices make sense and choices actually matter. And that game, they clearly matter. And like the whole 12-month thing, like I like the fact that I was seeing games coming out, this year and next year. Because like we've all seen before, if they show a game that's like 4 years out, like things can get delayed even further, things can get canceled.
Yeah.
So like to me, like I've always been a fan of the whole, like, I like to see what I'm gonna play like in the somewhat future, close future. So like to me, I thought they did a fantastic show. My only nitpick, and this is a nitpick for all shows, including Summer Games Fest did this as well, is shown updates for existing games.
I mean, that's fair.
That's the one thing I
don't even think that's nitpicky. I think it's a fair assessment.
Yeah, like the Fortnite update on Summer Games Fest, the Sea of Thieves stuff. Like Sea of Thieves huge, don't get me wrong. But I always thought those things should be like afterwards, like in a an extended thing. But like, look, I'm not gonna cry over spilt milk. It was a great show, Did a lot of great stuff that I want. They actually showed so much I actually had to write it down, which is crazy. So let's see, I've got the list here. Fable was stunning. Like the last time they showed it off, it looked better than it did before. This time it looked even better than that. Having Haley Atwell is like the antagonist in the game. That's crazy.
Yes.
Plague Tale Legacy. People have been waiting for this game since they announced it. They went dark. People thought this game got cancelled. It was only announced last year, and the game looks fantastic. I don't think I've heard coming day one and Xbox Game Pass so many times in my entire life. But hey, I'm not complaining. We finally saw this thing sort of flew under the radar, and not many people talking about it. Is we actually got gameplay for Metro 2039. That game, mind blowing, absolutely stunning game. Let's see, Warlong 2, that game looks stunning. Senua, I don't think anyone
holy freaking cow didn't expect that. Yes,
I don't think many people expected like a brand new Senua game this soon, because like Ninja Theory, they're a great studio, but they take like a long time to make their games. But look, they having their whole team on this game, so they can clearly make games faster now. They've even said it's a more action-orientated game with less puzzles, because I think like the sentiment I saw online with the previous two is that people didn't like the puzzles. I thought they were okay, but then again, I like puzzles. But hey, full on, and this looked better than the last one. Somehow, in that last game.
And the last one was melted your eyeballs.
Yeah, absolutely crazy game. Doom: The Dark Ages expansion, which we've heard is about the size of a whole game, which is why it's taken so long to show it off. Looks great. Crazy Taxi. I love myself some Crazy Taxi. The fact that they got the Offspring back.
Yes.
I didn't think that would happen. Because that's just been the assumption for the past 2 years, is that, it's coming back eventually, but there won't be any Offspring. But they did it, which I love to see. And by the way, I love the fact that a lot of older franchises are coming back, like about bloody time. The Xbox Series 25th anniversary console, that thing is beautiful. Arguably the best looking custom console I've ever seen.
Yeah, and if you heard, or maybe you haven't, they gave away 500 of them.
Yeah. Do you know what's funny? I was originally going to go this year, but I couldn't because of health reasons. So when that was announced, I was just kicking myself. I'm like, damn you, Jamie. But hey, I'm happy for everyone that got one. But that's a great looking console. I'm just going to assume that when you pair your controller with it, you're going to get some cool dynamic background, which they've done with other controllers. But I like the fact that clear consoles are coming back.
Yes.
Like people there's this weird nostalgia in a good weird for transparent consoles, and I don't know why more companies don't do them more often. But that thing looks crazy good. Next up, they showed off Valor Montes. That game
looks
another first-person game,
phenomenal, dude.
Yeah, it looked great. A lot of people thought it was BioShock in my face. It kind of did look like BioShock. If a game looks like BioShock to me, that's a big compliment. Another Game Pass game. Flight Sim's getting its US World update, which looks great. Where the Winds Meet, Shadow Drop. Love to see it. I know a lot of people have been wanting that to come to Xbox for a very long time. Let's see what we have next. Or Spyro the Dragon. I kind of predicted, I think a lot of people predicted that they would come out and, revive an older franchise. And I think Spyro the Dragon's been something people have been wanting for a very long time. Like, I don't think there's been a full-on new Spyro game since 2002. It's been a very long time. And that game looks great. It's going to have full-on flight for the first time in a Spyro game, which we've never had before. And, overall, I thought the whole show was great. Pacing was great. Asha Sharma did her thing. Messaging, out of the gate, crystal clear messaging. And I just like that, we've been hearing for months. I know we're going to be talking about it in the show, but I just want to briefly mention it. We've heard the return to Xbox a million times over the past couple of months.
Yes.
And a lot of people have been wondering, like, what does that mean? What's the implications? And other than like the naysayers and like the people that are just like hating on Xbox's decisions over the past couple of days when it comes to exclusives, like you can see a huge tonal shift when it comes to Xbox in general at the minute. People seem excited. They seem excited to talk about Xbox. I've seen a lot of people buying an Xbox. Microsoft said they have a lot of demand at the minute, which is great. And growth for Xbox is great. It's better for everyone. And she's been delivering the goods since day one, right? Since day one. And I love the fact that we have new leadership at Xbox that clearly cares about the console user base, which has been my biggest problem for a long time. I feel like they kind of just stepped away from the console. But obviously we're going to talk about that in a bit. But hey, the whole show, fantastic. I can't complain. It was great. And the fact that I want to play every game that was there, that's a bloody good sign.
You know what? It's that's a great sign, as a matter of fact. Umbra, before I bring you in, I just want, because I'm all about context, right, gentlemen? Right? Chat, you know that. I'm a numbers guy. I like evidence-based conversation. So we have all been talking up 2026 for quite some time. The chat has been talking up 2026 being a big year for Xbox. And already it has. With Game Pass, they have delivered tenfold. Forza Horizon 6 is without a doubt a Game of the Year contender. We know that Halo's coming out and Gears, right? And it's going to be a banger of a year. But just taking 5 seconds to look towards the future next year, which is expected to have, now granted, there is some talk about potentially some troubles for Helix releasing next year because of the Rampocalypse that's currently going on. But I don't know if that's true, because there was an article that I do have with Satya Nadella saying that they have more than enough chips in stock at Microsoft. They just don't have the power to get them all working. They're all AI RAM chips. So if chips aren't a problem, they can probably still go into production. But there is some words on the street that might get mucked up a little bit, but we'll have to wait and see. But let's just talk about games, Umbra and Jamie. Right now, as we know, next year, 2027, without Call of Duty, these 4 games will be out in the next 6 months of 2027, I should say. Clockwork Revolution, Stave Decay 3, and Senua. Think about that for a second. That's what Matty and Asha Sharma said, that this case would dictate the next 12 months of games. There's 6 more months left of this year. These 4 titles will not be there. They will be in 2027. So we already know Fable is locked in for February because they told us. Senua, Stave Decay 3, and Clockwork Revolution should fall at some point in the first 6 months of 2027. That's without Call of Duty, and that is without the other 6 months. You want to talk about freaking roadmaps? Like, just absolutely insane. But you know what? Let's circle the wagons here and get Umbra's hot take. Now, Umbra, before you go, I'm going to have to give you your golf clap and say Unreal Engine 5 is awesome. And you know why it looked even more awesomer? And that's not even such a word. Halo Campaign Evolved looked sick AF. I mean, look, we saw 27 other games. And I know the easy pick is, my God, Gears of War E-Day looks on another level. And it does. But out of everything I saw, Halo Campaign Evolved is what I'm most excited, That's next month. And you want to know how excited I am, chat? I had an opportunity to play 15 minutes of it. And you know what I told them? I'm going to pass. I did not play Campaign Evolved because I want to sit in my chair with my headphones in the dark and experience it on my screen in my home. Maybe even dressed up as Master Chief. I don't know. I can't say I can't confirm or deny I'm going to do that, but you never know with me. But let's talk about this showcase, brother. I mean, wow. Did they really deliver this year?
Listen, I think any of the complaints of UE5 are from the typical, slanderers in the chat.
I knew you were going to say something like that.
You all should. Yes. You must be silenced, as the Arbiter once told you. Yes. You all saw the greatness with your own eyes. BT Maverick played it. His eyes are now opened. He shall never slander UE again. And of course, the coalition of being the masters of UE, we didn't see any of that stuttering that everybody keeps talking about, did we? No more.
No, sir, we did not.
Stuttering. Yes, and this is why I've always said it is a developer issue. When they actually have the skill, no, we won't, Rickard. No, we won't. Today is the hour of your discontent, Rickard. We have UE upon us, UE5, brother. And yes, I'll name a few key games that all of you had your eyeballs popping out of your heads for during the showcase. Not only did we see the magnificent E-Day, which was the game of the show,
no doubt.
So. Not only did we have that in UE, we had Halo, as Boom pointed out, Campaign Evolved in UE. Not only did we have that, we had Senua.
Yes, sir.
In looking magnificent in UE. Huh? Not only did we have that, we had State of Decay 3 in UE. Huh? Do I need to keep going?
Please keep going so you can silence even more doubters, sir. I mean, this is your day. Please take a bow.
Not only did we have that, I'll leave it at this. Not only did we have that, we had Clockwork Revolution in UE. All of you, check yourself and bow down to UE as you should.
I love it. This is the General Zod moment. I just want you to know that, sir, because you're feeling very evil at this point.
Yes. I don't know. I was in my voice acting mode right there, I guess. Let me snap out of it. But yes, in terms of all those things, blown away. I said that Gears would open the show. And because they've done it before, they show here's this, and then we got the deep dive after. So I kind of knew that was going to be the case. And boy, did they not disappoint. That I'm so happy with what I saw with E-Day. The movement looks so much more like dynamic. We saw some of this with that other game. What was it? That's No Moon. Crossfire.
Yes,
that kind of dynamic cover system. Now we saw it here in Gears, where as well, where you can run up across cover, and even if it's a low ceiling, depending on how it is, the terrain, they will situate their bodies accordingly.
Yeah.
So even if it's like a low curb area, they will situate themselves flat to the ground, almost prone against it. It looks phenomenal. Seeing Marcus and Dom, jump across like the freezers inside of the supermarket, or being able to jump at all, in fact, is like, oh, we got one up on Kratos. We can actually jump. And they jumping over crevices and holes and things like that, and sliding underneath trucks. Now they have a little slide in there. I mean, it looks phenomenal, man. I am very, very, very hyped for that. How else do I put this? I'm loving everything about what I've seen with E-Day. I mean, they got that new horde mode that they have coming with it. There's so much more.
12 players, bro. It's 4 teams of 3 people. Do you know how a community night gaming night could fucking be?
Oh yeah,
Like holy freaking cow.
Absolutely. And again, it looked phenomenal. I had previously thought maybe, Gears would be a launch title for the Helix, but no, it's coming as early as what, October, right? So
Yes.
October 6th.
October 6th, as a matter of fact. Yes.
So yeah, listen, the coalition doesn't miss, man. They don't miss. We talk about Senua. Did not expect that.
Oh, that was a big surprise for me. Honestly, the game just released 2 years ago, dude.
Absolutely, and I appreciate now the sad part. Of course, we heard the news, which was Project Mara was sidelined.
Yes,
in the effort to do this, so they put all the efforts into this. But I know for new experiences, I know people may want that. That's cool. I understand.
You know something? I got a DM here. That kind of breaks down a little bit. It's more action oriented than ever before. Will the Broke Boy Insider dropped it into the DM. So Will, thank you so much for that, brother. He says they broke down exactly who they got to work on this game, and this comes from the Ashen one. Apparently, it's a standalone story that's set after Hellblade 2. And from what I read in another tweet, they have hired people from big action games like Devil May Cry to help, make this into a more, I hate to use the terminology, but a more God of War-esque type of combat system. And honestly, I am very okay with that. If this goes from a cinematic, story-driven, narrative focused title in 1 and 2 to a more action oriented game, I think that's what a lot of people really want with this, and it looked like they delivered. Umbra,
they absolutely did. I mean, I one of my complaints, if you will, or at least critiques, I don't want to say complaints, one of my critiques for Hellblade 2 was the fact that we didn't have like more battles like that. Actually, it was a matter of you kind of traverse here and there, walk around, atmospherically ridiculously great, right? And when you did have fights, they felt cool. It felt like a really life and death kind of thing in there. But I did say I would have liked more, actual battles where we're facing off like part 1 had a bit, honestly. So that seems to be what they're going with. And she looks much more dynamic in how she's using different weapons. I saw the axe and sword. I even saw her, I think she threw one at somebody, right? So
yeah, she threw one at the distance. Yep.
So I like that. I want them to make the enemies very aggressive. That would be my only hope, is that the enemies don't just kind of hover around. I want them to actually get at you. Other than that, man, I'm sold. I'm a bit confused on how they're approaching it. I know it's happening after Hellblade 2, which, by the way, they've renamed it. It used to be Senua Saga Hellblade 2. Now they've changed it to what it should have been to begin with, which is Hellblade 2 Senua Saga. If you all didn't see that,
I peeped it.
They just updated it. I don't know why they didn't do it to begin with. Anyway, that said, this happens after Hellblade 2, so this is a continuation. However, I don't think they see it as a direct sequel, like Hellblade 3. I guess is like the adventures of, Senua.
Well, it may be a side story because, from what I understand, they were developing this at the same time.
Yeah. That's the thing that's surprising because, I mean, obviously we heard it just then. We just saw the news, but it seemed almost like, man, you all got that done like that fast. But yeah, I mean, there's 85 member team at Ninja Theory for them, and here's Senua, speaking of her, for them to pull that out. She's bathed in the golden greatness of UE5. That's what that is right there that she's emerging from. Yeah,
that's great. I love it. Throwing those UE5 puns any opportunity you get, sir. Indeed. You've earned it.
That's the digital gold that she's emerging from right there. That's what that is. Yeah, I'm glad that they actually did that, and they said that I believe that this is twice as big as Hellblade 2. So yeah, sign me up. Sign me up. It looks great. Um, I'm sure it's going to be like for me, Hellblade 2 was the best looking game I've ever seen. I've said this before.
It's probably one of the best looking games on console for sure.
Easily.
And maybe that title gets taken away by Gears. I don't know,
Yeah,
but
it's possible. It's very possible from what I've seen. I think Senua tends to have a more direct focus straight on the pixel count of the characters. So it looks, I think, a bit sharper.
She's even dual wielding. Wow.
She is dual wielding. That's right. Oh, very vicious. I like that. Goddess of War.
Yeah, well, it's a real goddess of war.
Yes, I am taking my victory laps for UE today, Sea Lord Bravos. Indeed. Yes, I have set by while the slings and arrows of stuttering had been mentioned in the chat for many moons.
I love it.
But now I get to rub it into all the naysayers. What say you now? Why so serious?
Yeah. Well,
What say
listen.
you now, music? Where are you?
Where's Music 72 in the chat? He's there. He's somewhere.
Yes. The more I speak, the more my tone tends to, my accent switches to that of a British man, a British villain, in fact. Yes. Okay, sorry. Okay, getting back on track. I will agree with Jamie on this. Things like this, for instance, Bethesda with Fallout 76. I know we have people who are gaming on these. I've said this many times before. I know people are like, but people do play that. I get it. But during a showcase like this, I do not want to see updates for, a new update, the infestations. I don't care. Like stuff like this.
Yeah.
This
Minecraft updates.
Yeah, Minecraft. That I'm sorry. I know. I get that there are people that play these things. I think there's a time and a place for these. Even if you showcased it, I don't know, after the fact or something like, just to show you an update for this, I would rather that than have it in the middle of a showcase, because here we're looking for brand new, new IP or major announcements, right? Or new gameplay and stuff like that. And to me, this kind of slows the show down a bit, or it's like, or at least hampers what we're experiencing just a bit. And I'm like, yeah, okay, what's this? Oh, okay, it's a little Fallout update. All right, next, what we have next? I'm just waiting for the next moment to come. So that's my only gripe would be with that. I'm fully in agreement with Jamie on that. What else would I say? Man, one thing I'll highlight and before I shut up is that there are a few games I don't really have direct interest in, like Join Us. I don't really care for that. Maybe Age of Empires is not really my type of game. However, I know that many people love it. I know it's going to be great. Just not my type of specific game. Crazy Taxi finally being shown off. We knew it was happening. We know, but I didn't expect it to pop up here. So that was good to see. And they used the song I most associate from Offspring.
Well, of course, it was the title song for that game. And like Jamie said, I can't believe they were able to get Green Day to agree to bring it back. That's a really big deal.
Very happy to hear it. And yeah.
Yep.
I'm like, yeah. And I'm seeing the man fly down the street. I'm like, yeah, this is the Crazy Taxi I want to hear. So that was good to see. Doom's expansion here, by the way, looks phenomenal. I love the speed.
It's as big as a new game. That's how big it is.
What it looks like. Yeah, it looks like it is. And listen, I loved Doom the Dark Ages. I don't think it got enough love, personally. I feel like people kind of shaded it a little bit. I know some people liked Eternal more. I did not like Eternal more. I liked Dark Ages more personally, and that Captain America shield that I could use in there.
They can never get rid of it. It's kind of like the grapple hook in Halo Infinite. It's going to be super hard.
I said the exact same thing. Boom. You are in a complete agreement. I felt that. I said this thing has to stay. At some capacity, they have to keep the shield now, because being able to throw that thing like that or deflect and parry almost as if I'm playing a Souls game. Loved it. I'm with you, in complete agreement with you. This right here, I'm actually very excited for the Doom expansion. So that, slightly goes against what I was saying, but this is at least a major announcement, right? So it's whatever. But
What
To
you know
be
what I
fair.
love about it, Umbra, is that
Yeah.
it's not just your typical expansion that, hey, just do some more missions on some boards that look similar.
Right.
This has some sort of a grapple thing that
Mhm.
you like Scorpion would get over here and
Get
you
over here.
it's crazy, right?
Yeah. Yes,
And look at
indeed.
this level. See this? They went back to the old school corridors.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if that's a mode or it's at a level, but that looked freaking awesome.
You know, I noticed that as well. It did have that corridor moment in there, so that it seemed like they were kind of going back to the old school a little bit right there. I agree. Also, it was crazy to see him out there and out and about without the helmet on and everything,
Without
chest
the
all
mask, yeah,
exposed.
dude.
Right. I'm like, cover your shame, sir. Walking around, like Doomslayer the Barbarian.
And it's next month. Holy cow.
Yeah.
You're
Oh,
getting
wow.
this
I
and
didn't even know it
Halo
was next
next
month.
month.
I had no idea it was next month. I
Jeez.
didn't even pay attention to the date. That's crazy. But yeah, this is the one thing I'll say before I move on is that I think aside from all the greatness that was shown in terms of games, here's crazy Texas. In terms of things shown, the things that are coming directly to Game Pass day one is the major W, right? So E-Day.
13 games. And can I just expand on what you're saying?
More
Because
than 13, actually. Yeah.
What's interesting about what you just brought up is the fact what was the conversation about Game Pass that it was going away.
Mm-hmm. No more day and date.
And apparently that is so far from the truth that not only are you going to get exclusives, you're going to get the Game Pass that you know and love. And yes, will some be for the streets? Yes. Would I love everything to be exclusive? Of course I would. I'm a bot. That's just what I am. But the truth of the matter is that something like State of Decay 3 going over. Am I bothered by that? Not really, because it's a gas game.
State of Decay 3, I'm
gonna
not
be
too mad
one.
at. Yeah, I am. I will admit, like I said, the more I've been playing on PC, the less I've been kind of focused on, Xbox, PlayStation, this is that, right? But at the heart of my heart of hearts, I am an Xbox gamer. I prefer the platform.
This was a moment, by the way.
This was pretty dope. And I will admit freely that I want one of you to sacrifice your 25th anniversary edition.
My brother said the same thing, and I don't want to tell you live on the air what I told my brother in chat and in person because I can't curse. But yeah.
Understandable. And I get it.
Neo Mental, if you're listening, I am not sorry, sir.
All of you all getting that with the fan thing on the tagline,
bro, what a moment.
Like, that was one of, like, outside from getting the chance to meet you all, like, if that, that aside, this getting that given to people, to all of the actual fans and diehards who have holding the platform down for all those years and getting that gifted to you for free. I was like, wow, that's a major W right there.
That they gave it has been confirmed, ladies and gentlemen, that they have given away 500 plus consoles.
Paris says
I did the math on it. We did Ains and I did the math.
Yeah.
And it came to with just the console, not all the swag that they gave, over 320 grand worth of free consoles.
Well, hey, listen, they have the money to do it.
Oh, they have the money, but come on. When was the last time? Can anybody in the audience remind me the last time someone gave a console away? Because I don't remember.
I don't either. Listen, Asha pulled a Oprah on you guys.
I said that. That's funny. Yes, I did.
You could tell, like, when she said it's under your seat, I'm like, that's Oprah. That's Oprah style.
That's an Oprah moment. It absolutely is. Yes.
Oprah style.
You get a car, and you get a car, and you get a console, and you get a console.
Well, listen, as expensive as these consoles are now, it may as well have been a car that she said to you. But that said, Paris didn't get one, he says, which for some reason that tickles me, Paris. I'm so happy. I'm so happy you didn't get one. That'll teach you. I don't know why I'm saying that, but yes. Anyway, now, so these are the things I'll quickly say, and before I move on, is that it's more than actually 13 games going to pay to Game Pass that were announced, which is E-Day, Halo, Fable, Minecraft Dungeons 2, Spyro, new Spyro announced, Wolong 2, State of Decay 3, Resonance, which is a Plague Tale side story, which looks phenomenal too, by the way, Senua, Clockwork Revolution,
You know, by the way, you nearly choked me with the Paris thing. I just want you to know that.
Yeah, I had to rub it in. I'm sure you know what I'm rubbing it in. He probably got something way better. Like, oh, here.
Well, so the way it works,
Xbox edition car or something. I don't know what he got.
Oh, well, Jesus, that'd be something. What they wind up doing, honestly, is anyone that got a press pass didn't get it. We didn't get I didn't get a press pass. I got into Fan Fest as a fan. So anyone that had the fan badge got it.
Nice.
And that's how I was registered. So
he says, but Umbra, you getting nothing brings me joy.
Oh my goodness. You know what? I'm not going to say you earned that smoke, but I have to argue with, with good old Paris.
He is attacking me unprompted. I have said nothing. I don't know.
Unwarranted, are you saying, sir?
Yeah. I'm just here celebrating UE5 and the games, and here he comes with this energy. No, but you got Senua, you have Clockwork Revolution, you have Persona 4 Revival, you got Persona 6. Which, and shout out to my brother Crusader, who until he announced it and said it in the chat, I didn't really think of it that way. But Persona 6 is probably the biggest get they've gotten day one from a third party.
I would say, and maybe I'm walking a fine line of madness. Not only are you correct, but Persona is a series that sells, and it sells like really well. So what you're saying about it in all the years that Xbox Game Pass has been around for day one releases, I think you are absolutely right. It is without a doubt the biggest release ever. And I gotta be honest with you, in a time where they're trying to get new subscribers, especially PS, by the way, in places like Japan, this will get people into the door, bro.
Yeah, it will absolutely. Remember something. I don't know if you remember this because we talked about so much stuff over time. But one of my things I was saying that I would like for Xbox to do is to be more aggressive in third-party major titles they bring to the service.
Yep.
They've done a great job in general curation of bringing games to the service, but I'm talking about major heavies. Persona 6 will be kind of considered a heavy.
I would think that's a major heavy, bro, for sure.
So yeah, that's progress to me. I don't expect them to always do it because we already know it's going to cost an arm and a leg, but stuff like that I think goes a long way. Aside from your first party, that's all flowing well now. They got the what's the word I'm looking for? They got the warehouse churning right now. Like all these things, like you said, even with 2027 lined up now, the roadmap wise. So like that's really good. This game, by the way, of course, this new announcement, Magicians, what is it, Devil's Deal? This is also going to Game Pass.
That looks. I thought, what? At first, I thought it might be compulsion because it has a very similar art style to South of Midnight, right? Like it has that plastic looking.
It does. The kind of
gorgeous graphics.
Yep. I thought the same. Clear. I mean, obviously this part right here is CGI, but they do show gameplay directly after. But it looks really interesting. I was like, how does this play out? A magician, blah blah blah, and then you actually see it. I'm like, oh, okay. Well, that answers that question. There you go, abracadabra, and alakazam. He's doing the magic.
Like Jamie had said it, and it's the first thing I thought of. It has a very Bioshock-esque type of feel to it.
I can see that. Yeah, I can see that. Yeah, so this is interesting. It's coming directly to Game Pass as well. So again, if you look at it in those ways, massive W's all around. To me, you know what I got out of this. I was just sitting here smiling from ear to ear because UE was just,
it really was on display.
It was on clear display here, and it just fit into exactly what I had been telling the naysayers. You know who you are. Yeah, I won't get villainous in my dialogue anymore, but you know who you are, and now your eyes are opened. But yeah, outstanding show in many ways. E-Day in particular was the showstopper for me. I was just like, they almost felt like they shouldn't have shown it first. It was so good. Everything kind of felt less than after seeing it for me. But either way, if you want to open up a show, great. what better game to showcase it doing it, to open up a show than that, right? So, and this is also going to Game Pass day and date, which is Valor Mortis. We had seen this already, of course, before this, but that's fine.
But we didn't see it this extensive, though.
We did not. That's true. And we didn't know it was going to Game Pass day and date until now. So there is that. But overall, man, great show. Definitely jelly of the 25th anniversary edition consoles, which I'm sure I can eventually talk you into just gifting over to me. I don't know.
You know what? Just put your address from Chi-Town rather than New York.
All right.
These are not the droids you're looking for.
He's going to send me the box. Here you go. It's going to be empty. I don't blame you. No, but yeah, I'm glad you all enjoyed yourself, man, and got to meet so many good.
It people. Was a very big, even though I've done YouTube now, November will be 9 years that we've had the channel, which is a very long time for doing YouTube. To be recognized the way we have is more than a blessing than we could ever imagine. And to be invited in by so many companies, like there was a point where the business email account that we have was so loaded. I was literally spending an hour getting back to everyone. We got reached out to by Capcom, by Sega, by Focus. It was a very, very surreal thing for us. I still consider the channel small, and even at the size of just a pinch under 17, because we're like I think 53 subs away from 17K, which is freaking crazy. I hope to have that by the end of the week, which would be dope. It's just one of those things that I always say this. I and Mrs. Boom and I, we really do mean this. We expect absolutely nothing, and whatever we get, we are incredibly grateful for. So yeah, it was an incredible experience. But you know what? I want to circle the wagons back around to Jamie, because Jamie, I want to get everyone's score. And chat, get involved in this. Let's read out some scores, and I'm going to read some super chats. I'm going to get into this exclusivity conversation because thanks to Idle Sloth, who was there, I got to hang out with him and his girl. Beautiful people. He put a bullet point list together of what's going on with the exclusivity. And folks, I'm here to tell you there is a different energy in the room. I will repeat that because I have some context, but I am telling you some of the conversations that I had that were private really do line up with what you are hoping Xbox does eventually get back to. And we have some stories here from Windows Central and several others. But Jamie, for you personally, what was your score for this event?
Ooh, off the bat, because we still have a lot to talk about, I have to go with, and bear in mind, for me, pacing is a big thing, right?
Of course.
So, you could have a lot of good games to show, but if you have terrible pacing, if you have people just talking a lot of the time, I just zone out. I'm gone. My attention span is basically the equivalent of a walnut. So for me, the show was great pacing. Loved it. I want to play every game that was shown there. Lots of great Game Pass stuff. For me, I've got to go 9.5.
Okay.
To me, there's a big difference between a 9 and a 9.5 and a 0.5 and a 10. But to me, it was a great show. And again, we were seeing the games coming out this year and next year. And bear in mind, Microsoft, they announced games in January as well now. So we're probably going to see a bigger list of the roadmap next year as well. So yeah, 9.5 for me. I loved it. Great show.
Fantastic. Umbra, let's get your hot take, brother. Score it up. Where do you land on this mega show from Xbox?
So it's really interesting because I was going to try to save this for Thursday, but now my mind has been changed a bit because I was initially very low on my score. Not very low. Let me not be too dramatic. I was lower than the standard. The standard seems to be about 9, maybe 8.5. I've seen 9.5, as Jamie said. But mine was lower until I really actually thought about it over the days and over the next day. And again, looking at what's actually coming day and date and within the year and the next year. And of course, the overabundance of the great UE5. All the
That's a lot of factors, sir.
Yeah, because what it was for me, I think, is that we saw so much greatness, and I'm not even saying this like in a joking way. We saw so much great stuff shown from Summer Game Fest to Future Game Show, which showed much more, like a few little, like smaller games, but it also showed a ton of gameplay from uh not Exodus. Exodus. I was right. From Exodus, which is basically Mass Effect reincarnated, right?
Oh yeah,
in its own way.
Yes.
Looked phenomenal. We had so much shown. I will say this. I think Jeff Keighley's this was Jeff Keighley's best Summer Game Fest. I think this, to me, that stole the show
Easily.
overall.
Yeah.
Just because it had so many major heavy hitters that were announced that I was like, oh, I wish Microsoft would have got that one. I wish they got Resident Evil. I would Veronica, finally, Code Veronica, right? Like, oh, they got that one too. They got Final Fantasy announced there. Okay. Like so many, I can go on and on. But I think I was kind of unfairly judging this in terms of Summer Game Fest. So to me, Summer Game Fest was a 9.5 because it had so many heavy hitters that, I have loved over the decades. And I do wish Microsoft would have got one of those major ones from them. But in terms of what was shown here, E-Day looking phenomenal, is one of the best games shown throughout the summer showcase season, easily. Fable looking phenomenal, getting
Fable look better than we've ever seen it before.
Oh yeah, easily the best has ever looked. We saw, like, I actually thought it was a downgrade the previous time they showed it. Now it looks upgraded. That's the funniest part to me. So
that's why you let them cook.
That's right.
Let them cook.
That's exactly it. That's why I said, listen, that goes to show you, do not judge until you actually seeing like some real, like some stuff develop. Because stuff we're probably seeing stuff way back that's like old builds, and very clearly this was a more current build, and it looks phenomenal. Haley Atwell as the villain. I'm listening to her speaking. I'm like, she sounds like a bad guy. She doesn't sound like I know she's talking about being a hero and all that. I'm like, she sounds like a villain. And sure enough, she was. I love that approach. Haley has always been a hero in most stuff you've ever seen her in. So I'm glad they went that way with it. And you actually see yourself, the character, fighting her in the short clips and stuff they show. So I'm interested in that. Her name is what? Isabel. So I'm going to see how that plays out. But that said, E-Day, Halo, campaign evolved looking phenomenal. I will say though, and shout out to Narfield on Twitter who pointed this out. They changed Johnson's face a little bit. He does look like Steve Harvey. He really does. They need to probably correct that a little bit. He look like him, like survey says. So that's what it sounds like he's gonna say to me. I don't know. But other than that, I'm from Cleveland, y'all. Survey said. But other than that, E-Day, Halo, Fable, the what used to be three pillars of Xbox, right? And they need to get Fable back there, and this might just do that. Spyro being announced, State of Decay 3 looking great, Senua looking great, Clockwork Revolution looking more polished and great.
It looked even better than before, and that's crazy to say because before it looked insane. By the way,
I have to agree. So much stuff, and it's going to have the NXL charm too. New stuff like this with Vivarium, which threw me off a little bit. I'm like, oh, it's like a little Studio Ghibli.
It's like an anime, brother. If you remember, what was from the 70s? There was that. It was an anime that was on like Channel 11 that had this look to it.
I believe I know what you're talking about. I just can't think of the
Battle
name.
for the Planets, I think it was called.
Yeah, I think I know what you're talking about. But yeah, this is definitely that 70s-esque, early 80s anime style right here. That was very famous back then. Studio Ghibli, it kind of pulls you in mind of Ghibli too.
Yeah.
But again, Persona, I always say project. Persona 6 being announced and shown, like we didn't see much, but that's a major get for Game Pass. I had been upgraded. I think the showcase in terms of that Resonance, by the way, Plague Tale Resonance looked phenomenal.
It's insane. Yeah.
First time seeing more gameplay of that.
And that's Game Pass.
I almost feel scared to tell y'all what my previous score was, but my previous score was too low. I think I had it at 7.5.
Wow.
I have moved up to an 8.5 for the show. 8.5 out of 10 for me for Xbox's show.
Well, I mean, listen, it's a strong score. Listen, and you broke down why, but me, it's 10. It's an absolute 10. It's a 10 because there is nothing there that I won't try. It was 28 games, and a good portion of those games are in Game Pass day and date. This is something that we were told was going to stop. Gears of War E-Day was, I mean, it stole the show for most people, right? Like, honestly, it was a game that was in development for years. And when they said they changed some of the movement in the from prior iterations, I could never imagine that we'd have verticality the way that we have now. There's a jump button. Like, you can jump across chasms, right? You can jump onto a higher ground. They mentioned that there's going to be distress calls that you can answer or completely ignore. So there's going to be experiences in this game, even though it's not open world, it's open city. So you're going to be able to hear a distress call or walk past something like they showed where there was a family trapped in the building that said help with that was spray painted. You can choose to investigate that or not. So, Umbra, if you choose to walk away from it, and you won't because you're like me, we're going to check out every corner.
You already know.
You're going to find stuff that other people, again, just from what we've seen, that water cooler-esque moment. Like, hey, did you find this? No, I didn't. Well, you need to because I found this mission. And that is dope, right?
Yeah.
Halo, for me, look, I know I'm an OG. Maybe I'm even an old man. That's fine. But Halo Campaign Evolved looked absolutely stunning. And they really honed in on those missions with Johnson, who, by the way, seems to be the star of those missions. What are your thoughts on that? Because you're Mr. Halo.
He is definitely the star of that. I know some people were complaining like, oh, the dialogue seems too jovial. And I'm like, well, you got to go listen to previous the games. Like he talked like that in the past games. And then he hugged the dang, Sengeli at the end of Halo CE. Like literally, they were comical then. So I think people kind of forget that because Halo typically presents itself as very serious, but there are very comical moments in Halo dialogue and things like that. Wise with Johnson, especially, that this fits perfectly. My only complaint would, if I have to give a complaint or critique, would be that he looks like Steve Harvey. They have to.
I didn't actually. Correct. I mean, I could see where there might be some similarities to it.
Yeah,
I'm okay with the Unreal Engine version of him. You got to remember, he is totally redesigned, and maybe he does have a little bit of a look to it. But look, at the end of the day, everyone that I have spoken to has had high praise for this show in one aspect or another. I have hardly seen any well, it could have been better because. And listen, if you're in that camp, I'm not going to fight you, folks. Listen, your score is your score. I do believe in opinions. What I will not stand for is people being disingenuous and just trying to make a name for themselves to be different because. Mm-hmm. And we're not going to tolerate that here. But we're an hour in. Which was awesome. Yes, sir.
Before you go, let me ask you, or move forward. Let me ask you something, and then you too, Jamie. And this is probably, I think, what also hindered my initial thought process was I still feel a way about Halo going over to PS5.
Of course, it's a problem, but we're going to get into why that's actually happening, and I have that 1-to-1. I absolutely.
I was going to say that to say, E-Day being announced as a console exclusive, that was dope. But spoiled, of course, by Jeff Grubb before it happened.
I mean, Jeff kind of let the cat out of the bag, but it didn't really get any traction because he's gotten a lot wrong, and I saw a lot of don't trust Jeff takes. Now, I mean, again, I know Jeff, so does he get it right and wrong? He does. He's probably 50-50, and maybe I'm worse than him, but I'm also not an insider. So I saw a lot of that. So when I saw it, I'll put it to this way. I had heard something the day before. I just would not speak on it, and it wound up coming to fruition.
Yeah.
But you know what?
I only say that in the sense of it would have been maximum like shocking for people.
Well,
not to have known, right?
again, what I want to do is I have a ton of context that I want to lay at your feet, because I think that it's really going to answer a lot of the questions. I'm like you. I think Halo going over is it sucks. It really does. And if I'm being a console warrior for it, then call me a bot and keep it moving. That's fine.
Yeah.
I hate the idea that Halo's going over to PlayStation, and I actually think it's going to flop. I think it's going to sell as much as Gears of War Reloaded did. It's probably going to sell 777,000 copies and be done with it. If it hits 1 million, I'll be surprised. They don't PlayStation players don't really care for first person games. They don't, outside of Call of Duty. And that crowd is a very casual crowd. I don't know if Halo is a casual enough game for them. And that's just such an opinion. I'm not saying that indefinitely there's gamers that don't care.
Mm-hmm.
There are gamers that do care, but I don't think care enough where if it
not care enough where it's going to do like Forza Horizon 5.
It's not going to make it's not going to sell 5.8 million units. And if it does, I will come out in front of everybody and say, yes, folks, I was wrong. Absolutely wrong. But you know what?
Do you want to hear my wild hot take about the whole Halo thing?
Yeah.
So a lot of people are freaking out online. It's weird to have Halo on PlayStation, and it is. Don't get me wrong. If it was up to me, I'd yank those games immediately, right? But to me, I actually think the Halo thing isn't as big of a deal as people think, because like I've played Halo Combat Evolved a million times, since the day the Xbox came out. And like, I love that game, don't get me wrong, but like, we've already had this game before. Like going back to Halo Combat Anniversary, right? Like Combat Evolved Anniversary, like that game was built using new assets. The whole game was remade, right? And it was great, right? It was called a remaster, but they remade the whole game using new assets. So I'm looking at this, and don't get me wrong, it's beautiful. Beautiful game, new missions, which are great, space combat, which I love, and I'm going to play it. Can't wait for it, don't get me wrong. But like, it's just another remake, right, of a game we've had multiple times, and I think that, people that do hate these old games, because like, look, I talk about backwards compatibility all the time. I talk about older games all the time. And do you know how often I've had this random, new account with a random profile picture of, these people telling me that nobody wants to play old games? What, Halo's an old game? Super old. Yeah, you can sprint now and some newer stuff, but it's an old game. It's first person, so they'll get motion sick, I'm sure, because that's what I'm always told about first person games. And by the way, story for another time. First person doesn't actually cause people to get motion sick. It's a different thing that happens in first person.
Yeah, yes, it is. Thank you for clarifying.
It's called camera bob. Most first person games don't even have that anymore. But like, I've seen so much hate about Halo Combat Evolved for decades now, and like it's just a remake of a game we've all played a million times. I think it might sell maybe like bear in mind, this doesn't have multiplayer, which was a huge hook for Halo. Like, even if it was just couch co-op at the time, right? But like, I don't think this game's going to be the huge game people think it's going to be. I think I think you're going to have the Xbox fandom that can't wait to play this game. It's a hit in nostalgia. I can't wait to play it. Everyone here can't wait to play it. But it's like, I think that Halo Combat Evolved Campaign Anniversary, that game is very so specific that I don't think it's going to be as big as people think on PlayStation. Now, Fable, that's a different story. I would do everything in my power to yank Fable. Do some deal. I don't care. Because Fable, it's like Fable's a tentpole game for Xbox. They've been wanting to come up with a new Fable game for like 16 years now, and we're finally getting one. And it's like, Fable should be up there with Forza, with Gears, with
it
Halo.
Absolutely should. Yes.
And this new game, it's going to bloody do that. The problem is that they, all these kumbaya deals made in the past where we all have to be, happy holding hands. That was a bad deal, and like, if you have a brand new Xbox exclusive lineup and you're coming out with like, a new console next year, if you like, they sell Xbox Series consoles and they can't keep up with demand. If you have another like single player RPG such as Fable, made by Playground Games, to advertise that as an exclusive game, that's a bloody good move. But the problem is you can't do that now because of legal reasons, obviously.
You
I
hit it
think
on the head.
Fable
No, I
might
agree.
actually do well because it's a single player RPG, but I don't think Halo is the thing. I think we all can agree the next Halo game proper will be exclusive. I think that's a foregone conclusion. But yeah,
I'm with you on that, Jamie. And I'll go further because I've had this discussion with Kay and people in the Discord. I was like, imagine had they got, because I know they had 2 console exclusive with Clockwork Revolution and Gears.
Guys, I'll let you finish, but this is the conversation. I kind of want to move into the next,
I'll
topic
stop on
regarding
that,
it.
But I'll just say I agree 100% with Fable. I said I would snatch that away too.
I have some thoughts on for that as well. This is a conspiracy driven point that I'm going to make. I have no idea if it's true. It's on the cusp of hopium, but I have an idea behind what you guys are talking about. But listen, I gotta catch up on super chats. There's 617 of them here, and we'll start first with Jay Rambert, who's been a channel member for 19 months. Jay goes on to say, "Y'all see all things triggered PlayStation fanboys. Xbox decided to compete, and people have lost their minds." Yes, that is absolutely the case. I guess the console wars are back. Yeah, there's no doubt about that. The console wars are back. I actually think they, based on some of the commentary from Matthew Ball, who is a new, I believe it's the CSO. He is going to embrace the console wars, and I think it has to happen. The kumbaya-isms that was and is, was the former Xbox leadership because of reasons. That is not going to sell you consoles, ladies and gentlemen, and they know that. So we're going to get into it all. Iman Burns been a channel member for 48 months. Iman, thank you so much for that. He goes, "What's the crack? Funny Gears shows up with a PlayStation 5 logo. Funnier is Gears is on a hard drive, and it's one game ponies want, but they can't get an Xbox. Then I guess get an Xbox than ponies. Yeah, I mean."
It's kind of like history repeating itself, by the way. You remember the old one did that too.
Yeah, yes, that's absolutely correct. Gears of War 1 was for PlayStation, and it was stayed on a hard drive and, well, eventually deleted. And I got some quotes about that because people seem to think that that's still happening. It's not happening, ladies and gentlemen. Gears, it will, according to Asha, will never be on a PlayStation. That's it. If you don't have an Xbox, well, now's a good time to buy one because of the 25th anniversary one coming out at the end of the year. So jump in, as they say. House Flan, who's been a channel member for 34 months, goes on to say this: Fable and Halo not being console exclusives is a huge miss outside of the good show. I mean, listen, we're going to get into why that happened. And I have a theory on Fable. And I'm going to get to it. And I think it might come to fruition. But again, that's just my hopium.
From what he said, I'm going to be honest, just thinking about it, I think that's what kind of soured me initially. Is like, I would have liked for you to have canceled that Halo one. Oh, Fable, that should have been canceled too. That was I think that's what soured me initially until I just looked at it more in perspective of the great games we're getting and how great they look and them going to Game Pass. So when I rethought how I'm looking at it, it changed my viewpoint.
Yeah, well, again, I promise we're going to get into it, man. Teddy P drops a very generous $2 super chat. It says, "Ponies crying for Xbox games. Keep port begging." I mean, yeah, I mean, buy an Xbox, man, or play on PC. I mean, didn't they tell us for years that they had rigs? Don't play on those rigs.
Yeah, they did. I got the 4090. It hasn't come out yet. I still got it.
Go play on those. Analog AI in the chat drops a very generous $2 super chat and says 18 games, 13 in Game Pass, 2 big exclusives in 12 months. Yeah, I mean, there's a lot going on for Xbox. If you're here, then you are a winner for sure. Your dollar is definitely going to be worth it. We have JJ saying 117 in the chat, drops a very generous $5 super chat. He goes on to say, "Summer Games Fest and Xbox had great showcases. Nintendo's too, especially Zelda Ocarina of Remake. Yeah, that looked freaking amazing. PlayStation was interested in Magician Game 2. Yeah, I mean." I mean, look, I gave the Sony show, I think what did I say it was, an 8 or an 8.5. I thought it was okay. I really
I
enjoyed
gave it lower, and I
yeah.
think I was low in general, both.
Yeah,
It was a
it's fine.
7
I mean,
for me
look,
for
at
that.
the end of the day, I think this was a really, really successful games weekend, right? It started
It
with
was,
PlayStation on Thursday and through all the way. I mean, there's stuff all the way today with the Nintendo Direct, which was freaking amazing, by the way. But it's me, the
By
broke boy, drops a very
by the
generous
way,
2.
Boom, they also
Wow.
showed Kingdom was Kingdom Hearts 4,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
Finally. Like, how
Yep.
long has it been? What, 12, 14 years?
It's been a minute since 3, dude. Like, it's been a
Yeah.
while.
Like,
Yeah,
I remember they showed the little
and for the
snippet with
Switch, you're
him
getting
fighting
all
the
of them,
giant.
by the way. So
Yeah, that's pretty crazy. And that's coming to Game Pass, Xbox as well for Kingdom Hearts.
yes, yeah,
For those that don't know.
Then they're not listen, they're not missing out on any money. They nearly went bankrupt because of Sony.
Yep.
They'll, they may not admit that, but
They're smartened up now.
yeah, well, there you go. It's me, the broke voices. Boom, I messaged you some info on Senua. Thank you so much for that, brother. I super appreciate that, and the $2 super chat. We have a new channel member, Lad907 has become a channel member. Lad, thank you so much for joining the channel. And Nino Vistic has gifted 1 double barrel gaming membership, as he's done so many more times before. Brother, that is very kind of you. Aloha to you and the family. And hopefully you enjoyed the show as much as I did. We have Sith Lore dropping a very generous $2 super chat. It says gears would look better in UE6 Umbra. And yeah, we will leave it at that.
As long as you keep the lineage of UE going, I'm all for it, brother. Absolutely.
Adidas 20. Oh no, it's me, the broke boy, drops a very generous additional $5 super chat. He says, I'm ready. There's a physical premium steelbook edition for Halo Campaign Evolved, but can't seem to find it anywhere. I'm buying Senua on release. Is there? I mean, I bought the collector's edition. I would imagine that it comes with that. I mean, but I don't know. I mean, I would imagine there's going to be somewhere where you can buy a physical version of Halo when it comes out on anything. Adidas 20 drops a very generous $2 super chat and salute to everyone. Saw Boom having fun on the show. Yeah, it's pretty epic, dude. I got into a couple of videos, which is awesome. They like the jersey. Even I had the RPD shirt, Chris Redfield shirt, and Matt Booty was like, "Hey, Boom, I really like that shirt." I'm like, "Oh, that's cool, man. Thanks. You can go right here to get it."
Hey, what if you just put a boulder in front of you? Now do what you need to do.
Oh my
Chris.
goodness.
You know,
But yeah, that was a fun moment between me and Matt. That was fun. He's like, "I really like that shirt." I'm like, "Yeah, me too." I said, "If you go to Anime Ape, you can get one for yourself."
By the way, does he typically show up at those like that?
It's the first time I met Matt Booty.
Yeah, that's what I thought. I don't think
I've seen him before. I just didn't get a chance, but I haven't seen him a lot. He's not a front stage kind of a guy, from what I understand.
Yeah, that's what
he was shaking hands and talking and taking pictures with everybody. So he
yeah.
He was there for the peoples. It was great. Jay Blaze Op5ZL in the chat drops a very generous $5 super chat. Says Game Pass was definitely a highlight, but Play Anywhere was huge in this showcase as well. Yeah, you know what's effed up? My ROG Ally took a dump and the left trigger stopped working altogether. So I was supposed to go and bring that, send it back today for repair, or they're going to give me a new one, either or, because it's under warranty. But yeah, I couldn't use it. I mean, I could. I just couldn't use the left trigger. It sucked, but it's fine. It's going to be okay. Elemental PO drops a very generous $5 super chat. It says the last console given away was Don Matrix with the last version of the 360 when Xbox One was announced. Okay. I didn't even know that. Thank you for that. And listen, good old Donnie D nearly ruined Xbox. Thanks to him. I don't know if he's even in the business anymore. Judah Ross drops a very generous $5 super chat. Says we got to talk about the dumpster fire Phil and Sarah are forced into, making deals to include PlayStation logos at shows and debuting games at the PlayStation showcase or showcases. Yeah, I mean, listen, they were handed a raw deal. I will continue to bang that drum. I think what Phil did, we're not going to go into it because we really have to cover the other topic, and so we're already an hour and 15 in. But yeah, they got the short end of the stick, and I don't like it. I don't lay the blame at their feet entirely. I think that this 30% thing from Amy Hood was a real thing, and it put a chokehold on anything they wanted to do, and it forced them to do things that they would normally, out of character, not do. But new management, new leadership are making decisions that are better for the brand, better for its fans, and I am definitely here for it. But again, I'm never going to look at them, meaning Sarah and Phil, with a side eye. I think what they did for Xbox was amazing, and no one's ever going to take that away from them, and you shouldn't either. Abdel114 in the chat drops a very generous 250 super chat. He says, if only Asha came in 6 months ago, old CEOs effed up. I mean, yeah, and again, I just like I said, Abdel, I really believe that it was their hands forced. We have the Silver Afro, who's been a channel member for 56 long months. That's very kind of you, brother. Thank you so much for the support. He says, great coverage team. That's very kind of you. Yeah, it was a lot. I tried to do as much coverage on Twitter because I had a laptop that wasn't great. I was having some stuttering issues, not realizing that the old software I was using doesn't have the correct codecs, which is Movavi. I got to see if I can update it. Otherwise, I'm going to have to use Clipchamp, which I don't normally like to use, but I have all this footage and I got to get it out there before the end of the week. So you're going to start seeing my channel flooded with fan reactions to Persona 4, Persona 6, Halo, the moment at the end of the show that's not really out there, which is Asha giving away the console. I have that recorded. It's a lot. I just need some time, and I'm a bit jet lagged a little bit from yesterday because I came in super late. But it'll be out there. Sir Riffs a lot drops a very generous $5 super chat. Says, look at how ponies are reacting to Gears. Just crushed their hopes and pull Halo and Fable. Asha can take the hit. Xbox can deal with the fallout. All right, so panel and chat, let's get into what exclusivity looks like, and let's answer some questions specifically to what Umbra had asked, and even Jamie, and even the chat for that matter. Everybody's asking, why is Halo and Fable still there? Now, I just want to start off by saying that this is what I have heard, and I want you to take this with an absolute ginormous grain of salt, because this is not one-to-one. I didn't speak to anybody at Microsoft that told me this. This is the word on the street that was happening the entire time this event was happening. And from what we understand, Asha Sharma, the new CEO of Xbox, wanted Halo, Gears, and Fable full-on exclusive. She wanted them taken off. And unfortunately, what happened was okay, so when you sign a contract, there, if you decide to break that contract, there's a break up fee, for that, you deciding not to go with it. Well, apparently the breakup fee for Halo and Fable was so overwhelmingly large that, along with the development of the game, would have been too much for Xbox and Microsoft to take, which is why those games are going over there. Now, is that reasoning good enough for you? Well, I don't know. I understand it. Do I like it? No, of course not. I'd like Fable to be exclusive. I think Halo of all should be exclusive. But they, again, we're going to get into what Matthew Ball had to say during this Christopher Dring interview, where he specifically talks about what exclusivity looks like and why that it's not going to be a one-off, because immediately after these games were announced, meaning Gears and Clockwork as full-on exclusives, well, how long is that going to last? Asha shut that down immediately, and she literally said Gears will never be on PlayStation. They are trying to rebuild the brand. The next 100 days of Asha's reign is all about rebuilding Xbox, bringing it back to possibly the Xbox 360 days. And I think some of the conversations that I will not repeat says that is exactly what they are doing. Now, you don't have to believe me, because I refuse to give up some of my stuff that I talked about, because those are private conversations. But some of the conversations I have, listen, folks, Xbox is listening. They understand. And you know what? Before I bring these gentlemen that are on the panel in and get their hot takes on this, I have, again, Idle Sloth put up this incredible bullet point listing of everything that was discussed. And honestly, for time purposes, I can't read it all. I will include it into the show notes for you to check out yourself. I will add some visual evidence of whatever I'm reading when I make this into a video, but I do want to read from it because there's a lot of context here. And it goes on to start off with saying, Matthew Ball, Xbox CSO, interview with Christopher Dring at the Game Business Live. And it starts off with this bullet point, folks. Certain Xbox exclusives will sell fewer units than if they were multi-platform. But that is a short-term issue, according to Matthew Ball. Making these changes will help the Xbox console business grow in the future. So you know what this lines up with, folks? And now I'm going to pat my own ass. I said from the beginning, Microsoft and Xbox, business 101, short-term loss for long-term gain. I've been saying that for weeks. And well, here it is, ladies and gentlemen. Matthew Ball literally saying it without actually saying it. Well, according to Idle, he goes on to say, it's refreshing to see common sense back at Xbox, demonstrating a willingness to forego quick, easy money, the kind they would make by selling their games on PlayStation 5 or Nintendo Switch to prioritize the health and appeal of their own console. He goes on to say, they understand that sacrificing software sales today is the price to pay for adding long-term value to their hardware, retaining players, and strengthening their ecosystem. Their vision isn't focused on next month. It's focused on the future of the platform. And I absolutely agree. Now, here's a couple more quotes here. Matthew Bowles officially confirmed that the current demand for the console, meaning the Xbox Series X and S, far outstrips physical manufacturing capacity, meaning that people are running to the stores, ladies and gentlemen, and they are selling out of these consoles left, right, and center. Now, of course, this brings in the conversation, could you imagine if Halo, Gears, Forza, Fable, all exclusive? And unfortunately, Fable seems like it's for the streets. Now, real quick, before I bring in Jamie, my short-term thinking of why Fable was delayed. Well, the easy answer and what it has been explained to us is that, well, there is a behemoth in the mist, and that is Grand Theft Auto 6 on November 19th, and nobody, not even Fable, would want to get in that way. So, of course, releasing in December, not a great month because that didn't do justice for Indiana Jones, so of course you delay it. But Umbra, you had made mention of this, and obviously I'll come back around to you to get your answer on this. But again, just for context, you would love to see that pulled. Well, what if they are looking at a way and willing to take the hit? Not for both Halo and Fable, but maybe Fable was delayed not only for the fact that it's, we have a behemoth in the mist in Grand Theft Auto, but maybe they are circling the wagons internally to say, you know what, regardless of cost, this is a game that needs to be exclusive because. And maybe, and again, this is a complete hopium from me, and I'll admit that live on the air, but what if the delay in part is to try and figure out a way to say, you know what, F it, we are going to delay it, cancel your pre-orders, here's the breakup fee, development costs, put it on the hard drive, press delete. It's never going to PlayStation. You know why they might still do that? Because what we saw this past Sunday, Fable is going to be a mother banger of a game. And if that's exclusive, that's one of those types of experiences that get you to buy a box. So I am hoping that they could figure it out, and in February, or even at the January Direct we know they're going to have, we have decided to make Fable exclusive. Boom. End of story. Get Asha out on stage and just make that announcement and crush PlayStation while making that announcement. And yes, I understand what I just said is fanboyism. It's console war rhetoric. I'll ride that wave for a little bit. Why not? But you know what, Jamie, one additional paragraph, then we're going to bring you in. It goes on to say, and I'm not sure if this is from Matthew Ball or this is from Idle Sloth. It doesn't really say specifically, but selling everything you manufacture sounds great at a shareholders meeting, but losing potential market share simply because you cannot get enough physical stock onto the store shelves is a serious logistical failure in the midst of the console wars. And he goes on to say two things, and this is Matthew Ball, that the AI bubble has a major impact on the next generation of consoles, and that he has publicly admitted that they were rethinking everything regarding Project Helix because component costs have skyrocketed to an unsustainable level. All right, I'm going to stop there. Obviously, Matthew Ball understands the importance of exclusivity. There's been some talk, Jamie Moran, that he hates Game Pass, and that has been confirmed to me personally. That is not, in fact, the case. As a matter of fact, he has advised Asha he was advising Asha as soon as she got in, and it has been how I understand it is that on his analysis, and he does this for a living, this is what he's known for, more people are buying lesser games. We know this to be fact, and more people are playing through subscription services. And what does Xbox have? One of the best and most affordable in Xbox Game Pass. Jamie, let's get your thoughts on the fact that we so far have two exclusives, and we know that Asha has confirmed that Gears of War will never be on PlayStation, and that Matthew Ball himself has actually confirmed that this is not a one-shot, that this will be the standard moving forward. Let's get your thoughts, bro.
Well, that's a lot to unpack, but
take as much time as you need, bro. That's fine.
You know, for years now, we've seen a big problem, and this goes back to 2013. This problem Microsoft's had for a long time. Messaging. They've been terrible at it. Mixed messaging, something will be said one day and it'll be changed like minutes later, and for the past couple of days, even for the past like 100 days, we've seen crystal clear messaging. Crystal clear. And, because remember when we were told the whole, all 4 games thing and the whole that, Indiana Jones and Starfield aren't these games. And then, 2 minutes later in a blog or an article, Phil Spencer said, "Oh, I'm not saying no that these games won't go elsewhere." It's like it literally lasted minutes, right?
Yeah.
And now we're seeing crystal clear messaging. These games aren't just a one shot; they aren't going to other platforms later, and we're seeing crystal clear messaging for the first time in a long time. And I love what I'm saying. I've been an Xbox fan since day one, and over the years, I've just seen, weird mixed messaging, weird back and forth between, journalists and people at Microsoft. Like, it's just been a weird time. But like, I love the confidence I'm seeing from Microsoft at the minute. This is a strong Xbox we want to see, and these 2 games being exclusive, that's a big deal. Like, look, there's people in my feed, right, that replied to my post saying, "Oh, Gears of War is like the Gears of War, ED is the best looking game I've ever seen in my life." Mind blown, right? There's people that were replying to me saying, "This game doesn't look any different." So do you know what I did? I looked at their replies, right? And these people have been hyping all these other Xbox games going to PlayStation, but the one game that was shown first to be exclusive, this game they have a problem with all of a sudden. There's people that are saying this game shouldn't be exclusive because it's going to sell less and there's going to be less people playing the multiplayer. But that's never been a problem with Gears multiplayer. People have always had other people to play with. And the sentiment I'm seeing online is that people saying, but there's going to be less sales. The same thing can be said about any exclusive for any console, right? Is Spider-Man going to sell less because it's not on Xbox? Yes. Is Mario going to sell less because it's not on PlayStation and Xbox and PC? Yes. Like that is so obvious, but some people just only mention that stuff when it comes to Xbox, and that's been a big problem for me. But I'm liking the shift I'm seeing because they actually been proactive. I know, Umber, you were very cautious when Asha stepped in to the leadership role because she wasn't into gaming, she didn't have a gaming background at all, and people had the right to be very cautious. And the reason I had a lot of confidence in her because she had something that we haven't seen in a while: perspective. Right? She has a completely different perspective because she hasn't done gaming before. She has a fresh mindset, not plagued by the whole kumbaya attitude and console war attitude combined. Right? She is basically Xbox's answer or Xbox's version to Reggie Fils-Aimé. Right? Reggie Fils-Aimé put Nintendo through its most profitable era. Right? And where did he come from before that? Pizza Hut. Right? Fresh set of eyes, fresh mind on a different kind of business and success. And this is what we've seen from Xbox over the past 100 days. We've seen all these little small changes, be it, listening to player feedback, getting back to console features regularly, actually having a core console focus, finally, for the first time in years. And there's excitement around Xbox at the minute, not even just around exclusives, just about Xbox as a whole. There's been too much focus on cloud ecosystem PC for the past couple of years now, but I'm just seeing confidence around the console, and you do that mainly with exclusives, and Xbox hasn't had them for a while. And bear in mind, in the past, we've seen problems with almost a lot of Xbox games because look, I know a lot of people listening have basically seen, Xbox comes out with a brand new game and people have to nitpick it, find something to complain about. And it's happened time and time again, right? Redfall, it wasn't an immersive sim, we were all told. It wasn't 60 FPS. That was a big sticking point for a lot of people. Hellblade 2 wasn't 60 FPS at launch. Starfield wasn't 60 FPS at launch. So all these games were labeled as quote-unquote controversial, and they were hated on from the day they were announced to the day they came out and even afterwards. And then the huge turning point that I saw in Xbox's overall quality when it came to performance and visuals was Indiana Jones. Like, that game came out, looks amazing, performs amazing, day one. And I noticed then there was this sort of like shift in Xbox Game Studios production where like their first party games, they just jumped up a couple of notches. Right. I love their games anyway, but something with the Indiana Jones made me think something's happening. And the problem is they weren't able to let their exclusive plan play out where they let these exclusive games that look great, perform great, have great reception, actually sell their hardware. We haven't seen that plan play out. And Xbox has never had follow through. Xbox started buying all these studios in 2018, and those games, some of those games still aren't even out. These games have been like a lot of these games were in development when we were all stuck in the house, right? They're British game studios weren't even open for a year and a half, right? So like some of these games still aren't out, and I think that Microsoft, the new leadership, they see this, they see all the different moves they've been making, they see that the like you look at Gears of War he did, that's the highest quality game I've ever seen in my life, not just graphically.
I would have to agree with you, and I think Umber would as well.
The presentation of that game is incredible. And by the way, there's a scene in the gameplay they showed where Marcus jumps over like a freezer and then he starts firing through freezer windows at enemies.
Yes.
And then the glass shatters and hits the ground and it doesn't disappear. I'm just thinking, the coalition, they're showing off there. They're showing off. And, presentation, 4K, 60, ray tracing on a bloody console. Yeah. Right? And look, we've all heard the Unreal talk, and I'll get back to the rest of the point in a minute, but the Unreal talk we've heard for years is that the performance isn't there. We've had the occasional game that looks incredible and performs great. Look at Arc Raiders. Arc Raiders is, in my opinion, one of the best looking games ever made, and it's locked 60 all the time. And it's all down to the developer. And the coalition, they know Unreal Engine. They know it. And this game shows. And like, so there's the presentation thing. They have these high quality games. You look at Fable, and like Microsoft, I think they finally at this point where they can have, they have amazing hardware and they have the studios to boot and games as well. And, this is a long road Microsoft's on. They have to repair their image because like goodwill can be lost instantly, but it has to be repaired. And my biggest example of this is CD Projekt Red. right? They launched The Witcher 3 after the huge success of The Witcher 2. It launched in a kind of a buggy state, but they came out with some free DLC. It became the most awarded game of all time. They came out with 2 expansions everyone loved, and they built up insane, goodwill. And the fandom loved them. And then what happened? Cyberpunk 2077 launched, and it tanked their stock. It tanked them as a company, basically, when it came to their goodwill. And they had to come back and build over time. Update Cyberpunk 2077 with new features, get out the free next gen upgrade, fix the game, come out with Phantom Liberty, make deals with Edge to get Edge Runners out on Netflix, and they repaired their image. It took years, and that's what Xbox has to do.
But
And
that brand is looked upon as what, Jamie? Right?
Terrible, bad. That they looked down on as third, and third for a lot of these people, they'll say, "Oh, they're third. They should be out of the game." And it's sad.
Why do they exist?
Yeah,
get rid of them.
It's sad that I see people in the video game industry that these people are journalists and they actively say online that Microsoft should just be a publisher. I'm sorry, but I don't want to live in a world where Xbox, PlayStation, Nintendo aren't making consoles. That's a terrible world.
I agree.
And I'm seeing these moves Microsoft's making over the past 100 days, and I think the entire gaming media, I think all gamers and all platforms should be celebrating this, because we're seeing Xbox putting their foot down, being confident, being proactive, which they haven't been for years. Because bear in mind, we got the Xbox Series X and S in 2020, and yeah, we went, there was all the lockdown stuff, so a lot of games were delayed by all companies, but like they had so much hype about their consoles, but they didn't have first-party games to launch with, right? It was a pretty dire launch from them. Console sales at the time were great for them, but like they didn't have first-party software to show that the console off. And to me, I feel like they sort of just stopped talking about the console shortly after. We stopped getting console updates. They really stopped talking about Xbox as a console. They just start talking about Xbox as an ecosystem. It's like most of the money they make on Xbox is from consoles. It's from console sales, game sales, DLC, expansions, microtransactions, all that stuff. Like the core of Xbox is the console. And I'm finally seeing them getting back to that. And, exclusives, it's going to help them. They're going to have to build up a library of exclusives once again. So whenever I see anyone on my feed, and I restrain myself from applying, like when they say that they've tried the exclusive thing before and it didn't work because it wasn't done properly. There's all these external issues, some of them forced, some of them manufactured, but it was always a problem. And the perception I'm seeing over Xbox over the past 100 days is great, right? There's positive talk about Xbox. People are making videos, accounts, just making up reasons as to why Gears has to come to Xbox later. Do you know why? Sorry, PlayStation later, because it looks so damn good.
Like, yes, I've seen some of that conversation, sir. Yeah.
Gears of War E-Day is probably the most hyped game out of the past week.
Yes.
Right?
Of everything shown, I'd agree.
Yeah, and what is it? It's an Xbox exclusive. It's an Xbox third-person shooter. And that blew people's mind holes. Right?
Yep.
So, the business moves they're making at the minute, I like. I know we're probably not going to be talking about Helix today, but like these moves I'm saying, again, proactive. I put out a video basically an hour after Xbox announced the exclusive thing with the Xbox Game Showcase. And my main point, and if people want to watch, it's on the channel right now, like they've been proactive.
Oh, sorry about that.
Sorry. They're being proactive, and it's like a proactive is 2 words I haven't been able to use with Xbox for a long time. And that's what we're seeing now. And my only hope is that Xbox, like bear in mind, they're replying to people saying, when we say exclusive, we mean exclusive. When we say console exclusive, console, Xbox forever, right? We haven't seen these moves before. We've always seen these, back and forths, people from Xbox. Because remember, after the thing 2 years ago, when we were told the all 4 games thing, remember the whole mass exodus where basically everyone from Microsoft and Xbox just stopped using social media, right? People weren't interacting with the fans as they used to. Like the whole tonal shift at Xbox is positive. And when was the last time we can really say that the fandom was positive about Xbox. The employees were clearly excited about the future of Xbox, and just the industry as a whole were excited about Xbox. I can't remember the last time. In fact, I think the last time might have been like 2009. Right?
It has been a
long
long time since this, you keep calling it a tonal shift. And I think that's the best way that describes what is happening. There seems to be, Jamie, a focus on putting their players and their brand before anyone. And it seems to have pissed off not only PlayStation players, but the games industry who think that they still can't win by going exclusive again, which they're wrong.
Yeah, I put it like this before I finish my long-winded point, right? Xboxes have been making all these moves over the past 100 days. People try and pick faults, saying they're just small moves. It's just a logo change. And, bringing down the price of Game Pass, I don't think people realize how big of a move that is, because
Huge.
we live in an era where consoles are going up in price all the time. Services are going up in price all the time. Everything is going up in price all the time. And then you have Game Pass, which is the best subscription service, in my opinion, it went down in price.
Yep.
Down, right?
$7 or £7 for you.
And like in the UK, that was a big move, because everything in the UK is priced way high at the minute. And everything Microsoft does that's good, people are picking fault, right? People at the thing in LA the other day got free Xboxes, and I start seeing industry people start saying, "Oh, this is playing into the whole parasocial relationship between Xbox and its fans." But I don't see
ridiculous.
I don't see the same sentiment towards people that that'll go to Nintendo of America, like New York headquarters, and they'll watch a directs, right?
Hello.
And get free stuff and all these bags of goodies. And by the way, a lot of these industry people, when they go to these events, they get other companies have done free stuff before. I remember Sony gave away Sony Bravia TVs, and I think it was E3 2012. They gave a whole auditorium filled with 1,000 people, like a £1,000 TV, right? Nobody batted an eye, right? But Xbox gives their fans consoles. It's bad. Xbox comes out with exclusives again. People are trying to make up reasons as to why it's bad, or not enough people are going to be playing the multiplayer. That's never been a problem with them. Not enough people are going to buy the game. They have subscription services to help fund games, right? Let's see. Oh yeah, and I love this one. Xbox selling hardware isn't great for the industry. I've seen that one over the past day. Xbox going back to exclusives won't work, even though we've seen Forza Horizon 6 sell millions of copies. Console sales had a 12% boost in the UK. Let's be honest, in the UK, physical media as a whole is down the toilet, which is sad, really. It's been happening since 2012. But yeah, 12% boost in the UK for Xbox is bloody great. Forza Horizon was number 1 in the UK, a game that was physical, right? Physical game. And it's great to see, right? So this whole tonal shift I keep talking about, and Xbox being proactive, these are good things, right? It's okay for PlayStation to have exclusives. It's okay for Nintendo to have exclusives, right? That's all fine. That's all gravy. But the second Microsoft tries to compete, and we can all see them competing right now, right? People are almost acting scared, which I think is terrible, because back in the 7th generation, all three companies, they weren't trying to survive. They were competing to be number 1 all the time, right? Xbox was number 1 NPD for 37 months in a row. We never heard, "Oh, PlayStation needs to get out of the console game." No, it was about all three companies trying to be number 1. So PlayStation was better because of it. They invested in making first-party games. They came up with a wide variety of games, such as shooters, RPGs, fighting games. Every game you can imagine. They came out with a wide variety of first-party titles, and that's how PlayStation 3 did really well in the end, because they were all trying to be number 1, right? They weren't trying to survive. And that's what we want to see again. We don't want a cocky PlayStation that can raise the price of their games to $90, do we? We don't want Nintendo to, raise their prices again. We want all three companies to compete, coming out with a wide variety of titles, exclusives. And don't get me wrong, I think it would be great if every game was on everything. But that only works if all companies are doing it. But that's just my take.
And it's a strong take. Umbra, before I bring you in, I got a couple of points of context, and we're going to start first with something that comes the way of Charlie Intel, who has a quote here from Matthew Ball. And this is very interesting. Xbox Chief Strategy Officer on exclusives. And this is what Matthew Ball had to say, 1-to-1, ladies and gentlemen. Quote, players can expect a reliable pipeline that validates their historical investment into the Xbox platform. Keep them as Xbox players going forward. Everyone in the industry understands that exclusives are important to the growth and branding of that said platform. Now, let me just bring pop culture into the conversation. And Pop Culture Gaming is a relatively new Twitter account. And he goes on to, he has a couple of, he has his own quote here, which I want to read verbatim, but he has a couple of pictures here that are important to how serious exclusivity is for not only Microsoft and Xbox, but how this plan is the plan for Asha Sharma. We're going to start off with what Pop Culture had to say, and I'm going to read verbatim. Quote, Microsoft CEO Satya Nadella publicly backing the Xbox CEO Asha Sharma signifies absolute corporate alignment on first-party ecosystem retention. Nadella's endorsement of her hardline exclusivity stance proves she has total administrative authority to maximize platform revenue and capture market share. Sharma is deploying the exact same high-growth monetization playbook that drove her previous operational scaling success at Meta and Instacart. If you want billions of dollars in revenue, this is a young lady you call. Now, what he was referring to, and I will bring this up for anyone that watches this on the back end when I bring it up in video format. This is something that Asha Sharma said herself on Twitter. We want people to choose Xbox because of the great games and experiences. That also means giving you something that was made for Xbox. Gears of War E-Day and Clockwork Revolution are Xbox console exclusives. And who retweeted that? Satya Nadella himself. And that is, of course, what Pop Culture Gaming is referring to. But you got to remember, folks, this is on the cusp, Umbra, of her saying almost, I think it was like day 2 or 3 of her reign in her first 100 days. The plan is the plan until it's not the plan. And when specifically asked about exclusives, what did she say? Simply, I hear you. But this is a quote, I believe this is from Game Rant. I'm not sure, but I think it was. New Xbox boss says she hears fans who want Xbox titles to stay exclusive to the platform. This is the way. And it looks like they are serious about it. And just based on the fact that Matthew Ball has confirmed, Umbra, that they can't keep up with the stock, tells me that they are on the right path, because their exclusives, which look awesome, and Gears and Forza and Halo and Fable are perfect examples of that, make people want to buy a console. And when you add Game Pass to the conversation, value now becomes a big proposition. I'm going to get your thoughts, brother.
Value on top of, which is more reason why next gen is going to be a hurdle for them and why they need to install some type of payment plan. I've said it before.
Yep.
It's going to be costly. They need to try to mitigate that either by being a loss leader, which they don't want to do apparently. Either they're going to have to take the loss and give us a cheaper and subsidize and have a cheaper console, or allow for people to pay that thing off before it gets here. I would rather they go to ladder rather, and just like, okay, pay into this, get it out of the way. I know people were like, well, you can just save it until then. Yes, but some people don't know how to do that well. Just give the option. Option's always better than nothing. Regardless of that, I was informed that there are still 50% of gamers still on the 7th gen.
I have those exact numbers. Would you like me to just quickly give you them?
Yes.
Okay, so right now on Xbox One, X, and S, there's an average of 10 million current players. But do you want to know how many players are on PlayStation, PS4, and PS4 Pro? Over 49 recorded million players are currently on those pieces of hardware.
Wow. See, so the trick is those are a lot of, we already know most of those are casual gamers. The trick is getting all those people to move up, right? And that's the thing, that the hurdle they have to get past. But you cannot get past that hurdle. Jamie, by the way, well summed up in everything you said. You know, we wanted to let you cook, and you cooked up a Michelin star meal there.
Indeed, he did, sir.
But you're absolutely correct. I mean, and everybody keeps saying it. I know a lot of people tend to try to write it everyone else off as, oh, you're just console warring or you're fanboy. Listen, I don't care what you want to try to call it. You cannot entice people to buy your new hardware if you don't have an exclusive there for them to go there. If they can get your game on PlayStation and get PlayStation's games, they're going to go to PlayStation. If you can go to PC and get everything and not have to have and better yet, and if they weren't going the direction they were going with Helix, where's this fusion would be, some would say an Xbox fusion. Me, I would be someone who would call it that, because that's the name I gifted it. Anyway, if they didn't go that direction, it would be even more impactful against them. But they are. So that's the thing. PC they can withstand. They cannot withstand the console space having where people just choose Sony and don't buy their hardware unless they just want to exit the hardware space. So they're gonna have to make that decision. And it seems to be that Asha is making that the correct, in my opinion, decision on exclusivity. Now, Boom, to your point, we don't know all the intricacies and deals in place and whatever. If she indeed was trying to get all those canceled, as far in terms of going to PlayStation, then golf claps to her, right? I applaud that, and I believe it. I believe that she would do that. Actually, I do believe that. Doing this with E-Day, I know some took it as, oh, she listened to the console warrior, she listened to the few, etc., etc.
Yeah, I saw that as well. Even some journalists talked about that, and I'm not going to say who, but yeah, you should know better.
I don't have any problem dropping names, but I'm not going to do it on your show. But my thing is when I see that, it always seems weird to me, because these same people would never say that to Sony or Nintendo. It's stupid to continuously be like, well, they have to do this. They don't have to do anything.
Correct, sir.
You cannot build on the your base and bringing people to your platform if they continuously believe they have options elsewhere. You got to take that option away. I know it seems anti-consumer. I get it. I understand that. That's not their problem, though. The same business model that we've been running under traditionally still affects them, no matter which way people want to see it. Yes, it seems nice to have this kumbaya utopia where you can have all these games everywhere, but Microsoft can't be the only one doing it. That's the problem. If it was all of them doing it, then yeah, I'd be like, all right, yeah, games everywhere. They're not. Microsoft is the only one expected to have this standard. So that does not benefit them. So initially, like I said, the part of the reason why I think I felt down on the showcase, and not down, but I wasn't as high as I could have been, was because it was like, yo, Fable needed to be canceled going over there. Yo, Halo especially needed to be canceled over there. But to hear that, that was in the plans, or at least that's the speculation, then absolutely she's on the right path. And hearing Matthew Ball, like you said, speak on it, it very much seems to be the case that, yeah, and Matt Booty, by the way, that, yeah, while they have to kind of honor what they already had established from the previous regime, that going forward, we're going to see much more, I guess, select titles going over. I would imagine they're going to pull a Sony strategy where you're going to see multiplayer titles and gas titles go over, maybe still.
Like State of Decay 3, I understand why it's going over there, because if this thing winds up being as big as they think it's going to be, and there's talk about it really having that AAA feel thanks to the help from the coalition on Unreal, they could deliver a game that could be like a Sea of Thieves, could be like a Fallout 76 or an ESO just with zombies, because there's no other games out there right now that's like that game. So that ultimately does make sense.
100%. So, that keeping that in mind, I just feel like if that is what they're actually planning on doing, I mean, we won't see the fruits of that labor for a while. That's the thing too. The whole argument is, well, short term, long term. I don't know how long Asha is going to be there. Now, remember, that was part of my skepticism, guys. I was like, well, we've seen her in the past. She switches off after 4 years. Now, she apparently has said she'll be there locked down until 2030. So that will be the longest tenure that we've seen professionally for her in these types of ways if she stays until that point. And if so, it is going to take time. We can't even fully judge her in terms of what she's done and not done for at least another year, I would imagine, because we have to see things that's very specific to her. E-Day being canceled for PlayStation 5 is a direct thing she did, right? That's something we can credit to her. A lot of the other stuff, people I know like, oh, she did more than blah blah blah. No, that was all Sarah Bunn and Phil. Get that out of your heads right now. That stuff that she had already was like, oh yeah, we're doing this and we're doing that. That was already being worked on. Persona 6, that was Sarah too. Get that out of your heads if you think otherwise. But E-Day, that was her. The thought of exclusivity and that going back, picking up Matthew Ball and him having it being on the same page, that was her. So it's going to take a while, but in that same vein, it's going to take a while for this to pay off in terms of exclusivity, or console exclusivity. I should be clear. That won't be a quick overnight, like, oh, see, as soon as you got exclusive, look, 3 million sales a month for Xbox hardware. No, it won't be that immediate. But if you continuously deliver as they have been doing with all these great first-party titles, having Game Pass banging with third-party major hitters like Persona 6 and all these other games that people may not have even given a second look at. And even if you can grab a few more major ones right here and there, or at least get them shortly after they've had their kind of time to sail through and get them to the service, whatever. Continuously doing that and having must-have games that are only console exclusive, at least to Xbox. Over time, you build that, they will come, as they say. Yeah, it won't be immediate. This has to be a long-term plan. It's just that simple. And any thought to the contrary just won't work unless Microsoft goes back to the 360 era of money heading. Now, if they start money heading some third-party games over, which I would do if I had the power, mind you, if I had the power and the book, the money, what's the checkbook to do so, if they gave me, as they say, carte blanche, boom, I would be like, okay, Final Fantasy. I know that you guys at Square want to go back to going everywhere. Let me keep this Revelations here for a good year or two. Capcom, I know you got Resident Evil Code Veronica, or just now Veronica, coming out. Let me get something with that too. Maybe 6 months to a year exclusivity for console. I would be trying my best to throw.
I agree. I would throw a lot of money around, even if it was, especially because that's what they were good at in the 360 days. You're absolutely correct.
It's what helped pull a lot of people over. Now, Sony also shot themselves in the foot, so to speak, with the pricing and everything with PS3 at the time, as we know, but and also the terrible messaging of get another job. Like, so Matrick wasn't the only one with the terrible messaging at one point. But all that said, I know, and I had this great discussion with Everborn, very wise brother, and he was like, I think that money, instead of money heading, would be better used for the future with them, which is the subsidization of the Helix. And I can't quite argue against that. I think he makes a lot of sense. If they use that money to say, hey, we're going to take this loss of sales in terms of what we're charging you by subsidizing that, then I also won't argue that, because I think that's a way to make sure to say we're going to pull more people over. And you got the option of getting a next gen fusion of console and PC in the Helix, or the project, or the Xbox Fusion, as I call it. and it's what $200 or $300 cheaper than the PS6. Yeah, and more powerful. Yeah, that's a major W, and that's a hard thing to overlook if you're a consumer and being like, "Well, I'm going to go to PlayStation." Most people will be like, "Why?" You got Xbox with all those games. You got Game Pass, and it can play games on Steam and Epic and all that. Yeah, I'll get an Xbox. You have to be otherwise a very diehard console warrior to be like, I skip that. I'll pay $400 or $500 more dollars, and I know some that are like that, mind you. I'm just going to throw that out there. I've talked to them many times in spaces, but again, that also goes with the brand love that PlayStation has built. To their credit, Microsoft, to get back to that, they have to. For one, they've been doing it in terms of games. I don't want to hear anybody talking nonsense when it comes to, well, they haven't been giving us game. Xbox has no game. Xbox has been delivering in terms of not just games in terms of quantity, but very much so in quality. Right now, they're not all 90 plus metas and nothing like that, but they are in the high 80s or the mid 80s and things of that nature. So they have to just continuously build on that, deliver on that. But I will say, if the future is, the Halo's Infinite 2 or whatever we're going to call it, right? Halo 6.
That will not, I can guarantee you this. Again, this is not, take it with a rumor, take it with a grain of salt, whatever you want to call it. I can say, based on some of the conversations that are out there, the next Halo will not be on PlayStation.
I imagine it won't. And like Jamie and you pointed out, this one here is, doesn't have a multiplayer component. It's almost like Reloaded in that sense, like he said, because this doesn't really disrupt the future in terms of the actual mainline series, right? So they can afford to do this for this one, but if the future entails them also continuously putting Halo over there, in my opinion, that will be an L for them. If she can pull that away and go back to, that won't ever go over there, Gears won't ever go over there, I still feel Fable shouldn't be going over there. But if that can happen and they continuously build on that, again, it's going to take a time. It's not going to be quick. And I know people will be like, they don't get the quick results. Oh, they failed. They shouldn't have done that. It's not something you're going to see immediately. That's years of work that has to happen. It's literally years. So how dedicated are they in correcting the ship and trying to regain that number one? She said her goal, she has no 30% mandate like Phil and Sarah did. She's not hindered by that. We saw, like you said, Satya shared out what she said, seems to be on board. She has no mandate for that except to be the number one gaming and entertainment company. That's what she said. So if that is real, if that's what what they really believe, they have to show that by keeping these games more locked exclusively to the Xbox console, at least console wise. And it's going to take a time. It's not quick. And I don't care what these journalists say. They don't know anything, just like we don't know anything. And it's a gamble either way. I would rather gamble on them keeping something exclusive for their identity of their brand and strengthening their brand. I would rather go that route. And this is me who is largely on PC, but I know if those games become console exclusive, it's going to have to draw people in if you continuously give them quality drops of titles. So that's my thinking on this all, and when it comes down to it. But again, I love the show. I love a lot of what they did not like some of the games going over. It is what it is for now. I just hope that a lot of the words we're hearing are not just hot air. I hope they actually really do what they're talking about and move forward with that in their direction.
Well, I mean, look, first of all, great segments from both you and Jamie. The truth of the matter is, what they were doing before didn't work, right? I continue to come right back to that because that is the facts. What they tried did not work. $776 million for me and for you and most people in this chat is money that we'll never see in probably 10 lifetimes. But when you consider that equates to 15 games going over there, and only 4 of those 15 games broke 1 million. right? We know that the big breadwinner is Forza Horizon 5 with over 6 million, and it's probably over 6 million now. Followed by Sea of Thieves, I think at the time was 3.8. It could be 4 for all I know at this point. Followed up by Grounded, did pretty well. And then on the bottom of the list was the Oblivion remake at 1.3. The rest of the other titles did terrible. Probably not even making back what the porting cost was. So is it worth to continue to port if they're not buying your games, meaning PlayStation and Nintendo players? The answer is no, don't do that anymore. And I think it's clear that regardless of who's to blame, and we all kind of figure we know who it is, right? There were mandates. There were things that were beyond Phil and Sarah that they could do, and these moves had to be made. Well, all of that is now have been wiped away because they're no longer with the company, and new leadership is trying to quote bring back Xbox and bringing back exclusive content. I've been saying that, listen, man, I always said I don't like it, but I had to accept it because I wasn't making the calls. And obviously, bringing back exclusives like Gears of War E-Day that showed really freaking well. That's probably the best looking game any of us in this chat and on this panel have seen in this generation, and maybe even in the next gen for that matter. It's stunning to look at. It's probably closer to Unreal 6 than we'd even imagine. It could be a 5.9 version for all we know. So it is pushing the boundaries, and that is what the coalition is known for. But they are on a path to correct a lot of wrongs. And at the core of that, which I think is the most important, is not exclusivity. It's your fans, is letting your fans know that not only do we hear you, but we understand that there was significant brand damage and we are trying to fix it. Exactly what Jamie said. So what happens next? I am definitely here for it, but exclusivity is back. And we do know, thanks to Matthew Ball, that this is not a one-off. This is not just to quiet down the critics or the fanboys. This is the path that they will be taking, and games that are important to the brand, that look great, that play great, that have the community talking about it. Those games will be exclusive to make you do what? Buy an Xbox. And if you don't want to buy an Xbox and you want to play on PC, I don't think Microsoft cares. Play on PC, buy the game. You don't want to buy the game? Not a problem. Invest in Game Pass. That is the ultimate goal, is to raise those subs. And I think a lot of these games will do exactly that. But, gentlemen, let me make sure I am caught up on Super Chats, and then we will get everyone out of here. This was a rocking 2+ hour show. And I believe, we are currently all caught up. I think, let's see. Oh, no, we have one here. Sir Riffs a Lot drops a very generous $5 Super Chat. Says, look at how ponies are reacting to Gears. Just crush their hopes and pull Halo. I think I read that already. Pull Halo and Fable. Asha can take the hit. Xbox can deal with the fallout. Yeah, I actually did read that, but
it was worth repeating.
It was absolutely, I absolutely agree. But thank you so much, Sir Riffslot. Super appreciate the generosity and the truth. That's truth bomb, like live on the air. But gentlemen, let's get everyone out of here. We'll start Jamie Moran. Jamie, I would imagine that you and Logan have a show tonight, and 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and it's going to be a big one. I'm sure you're gonna. I know that you had put out a video about the showcase, but we haven't had you guys together to work it out and talk about it. So sell the brand, brother. Where could people tune in tonight at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time for the new episode of the All Things Xbox podcast? And I would imagine the major topic is going to be the Xbox Game Showcase. Sell the brand, brother.
Yeah, Boom. Almost coughed there. It's always a pleasure. All Things Xbox podcast is on 6 p.m. Eastern tonight on the Elusive Gamer YouTube channel. I exclusively cover Xbox, no fanboy stuff, none of that stuff. It's always a fun time over there in the All Things Xbox podcast chat. Now, funny thing is, like you said, we are going to cover the Xbox game showcase, but considering all the showcases that have happened since then, I've actually made a list of all the games that's coming to Xbox from every showcase. So we're going to go over all 104 games that are coming to
Wow,
Xbox.
that is a list, dude. Holy cow.
Yeah, and I'd say over half of them are actually AAA games. So yeah, every single game. So if people missed out on, a future game show, Summer Games Fest, State of Play, we're going to go over including Nintendo today. So yeah, that's 104 games. That's coming to Xbox. It's going to be a fun time over there. We're obviously going to be talking about the Xbox show in depth, and my thoughts on the whole exclusive thing, and Logan's as well. And I'm going to probably slide some Mass Effect in there as well, because let's face it, I can't help myself at this point. But yeah. That's 6 p.m. Eastern on the Elusive Gamer YouTube channel. I also do Twitter, which is Jamie Moran UK, and that's exclusively gaming and jokes.
Well, it was great to get back working with you. Cannot wait for tonight's podcast, folks. Please support Jamie Moran. Not only does he do great podcasting, but he puts out incredible monthly videos about that specific month that these are the games coming to Xbox. He puts a lot of work into those, and I'd love to see him get some more subs. And of course, tonight, don't forget to tune in, because he's probably one of the few places where you can find 104 games coming to Xbox at one point or another. That is going to be a banging show. So, Jamie, thank you so much for that. Infinite Umbra, let's sell the brand, brother, with The Fix this Thursday, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Or is it 7? No, it's 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 8 p.m. Chi-Town time.
Oh, no, you hit it right. 8 p.m.
I did hit it right. Okay, so it's 8
time.
and then 7 for you. Okay, so it's 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And of course, we want to help you continue to grow the channel. Obviously, The Fix is a great place to go and not only get pop culture conversation, but get hot button conversation. And I think that between himself, Crusader Games, and of course, Daniel J. McGee, you guys are gonna have a lot to say of what happened and what will be happening in the future, because right now, Xbox continues to bang the drum of first-party greatness, and not only are they delivering this year for their own players and Game Pass, they are already focused in on 2027, and that lineup is already ridiculous. Sell the brand, brother. Where can people subscribe, and more importantly, follow you on the socials?
Brother, we have we're talking about the future and how stacked the games are. Look at September alone of this year.
It's really unaffordable.
Man, even February of next year is looking crazy already. We got, if you just look at from I think August until November or December of this year. Listen, our pockets are about to be wrung extremely. It's an overabundance of great stuff coming. But that said, great show. Shout out to the chat. By the way, Boom, you got 3 new super chats, just to throw it at you.
Oh, okay. I'll get to them, brother. Thank you so much for that.
No doubt. Just to say, Jamie, I do not envy you covering all of that. That's a lot.
Yeah.
I was thinking, how do I cover all of these showcases properly? Maybe we give a top 5. You I'm gonna cover 109. I'm like, hold on now. That's a lot. So kudos to you. I'm going to see how I can try to squeeze in Summer Game Fest as well as Future Game Show and the Xbox Showcase, the star being Xbox, of course, but I'm trying to see how to probably navigate that. Maybe we'll do a top 10 list of heats or something like that from all 3 shows combined or something. I don't know. And give our thoughts on the show and things or I can get their thoughts, because you all know mine. But yeah, of course, like Boom pointed out, guys, Thursday at 8 o'clock Eastern, 7 o'clock Central for The Fix. That's on Thursday. And so come by and keep us company. I know some of you would like more of you all to show up if you could. There are an abundance of people going live at that time, though. So if you don't come by, I kind of get it. I know you all would hold me down otherwise, but there are so many other people, some of our other podcasting brothers in the game. I get it. Trust me. I don't hold that against you. Or do I?
Maybe.
You never know.
Well, you ultimately had the last laugh, because all the major games that were shown at the showcase are all on Unreal Engine 5, and they looked glorious.
Yes. I was smiling before you got to the end of your sentence, because I already knew where you were going with it. Yeah. That's right. I am very pleased that all that Unreal slander was just put to rest. But yeah, definitely going to be talking about some gears more. You already know I'm going to be gushing over Unreal on the show. So if you can't stomach that, don't come by, because you're not going to like me.
But if you do like that kind of talk,
absolutely,
you should stop by.
Yeah, absolutely. But yeah, definitely hope you guys come by. Shout out to the chat for being very active and today and everything like that. Come by and do the same for me if you could. Jump in the chat and communicate and give me your thoughts and pushback and whatever the case may be. Thursday, Infinite Umber or Umber Infinite on social media. You'll find me either way. Yeah, thanks for having me, Boom.
No problem, brother. And as it was brought to my attention, Freddie Fox drops a very generous $5 super chat. It says, "Boom, Game Pass isn't really $23. It's 18. Gamers forget that $5 of that is for paying for online. Just saying. And Gears exclusive, suck it, ponies." And yeah, there are a lot of people that are really upset on the PlayStation side. And I say, just buy an Xbox. And I'm going to put out a tweet that's going to enrage a lot of people momentarily. But we had almost 1,000 people watching live, which is crazy. Twitch had one person. Hello, Twitch viewer. Thank you so much for watching. We had over 400 people on YouTube watching, which is always great, and over almost 500 people watching on Twitter. Twitter folks, I know Twitter's easy to watch. Come on over. Of those 500, if you're still in there's 898 here in the chat. I am going to ask for a favor. I normally don't like to ask for subs, but the number does matter because it does get us indoors that normally we can't get into because we don't have, high numbers for sub counts, and they do look at that. Well, if you care about this channel, if you like the way that I present myself, the way we keep it a buck here, we are I think 49 subs away, folks. Let's get at it, man. Leave Twitter or click the button on Twitter. Go over to to YouTube and sub, man. That would be great. I would love to be able to say that not only did we have an amazing weekend where we have a redonkulous amount of coverage for you, which I'm going to get up on the channel in the next few days. There's a lot to scrub through. I'm probably going to be dropping at least 10 to 15 different videos, one of which is going to be one from inside of FanFest going through the years of Xbox that they had set up. It was a really, really, really freaking cool thing. It's about 4.5 minutes of going from OG Xbox to where we are, and they have like these different rooms set up on the era. It was really well done, like really well thought out, and that's the kind of stuff that you had to be there for coverage. So I'm going to be dropping that. So if you want to check all of that out, please consider subscribing. Get us over to 17K by week's end. We would greatly, greatly, greatly appreciate it. But of course, FarQ, who I met in person, gentleman of a man, took a long time to get over here. He flew from the other side of the pond, but FarQ drops not one but two super chats. The first one of £2 says, "Good morning, Boom. We missed you guys already." Yeah, we had so much fun. FarQ was a big part of everything that we were doing out there. He went to dinner with us almost every evening, and it was a lot of fun to hang out and meet the people. I met so many people. I took so many pictures that it was just awesome. Absolutely awesome. His second £5 super chat says, "It was an awesome weekend. Memories I'll never forget." Yeah, that makes two of us, brother. It's always great to meet the people in real life. That's really, again, I keep saying it, that's really what it's all about. But ladies and gentlemen, that is going to do it for us here. I hope you enjoyed today's program. I'm going to be putting up a significant amount of videos, not only from from Sunday's show, but I'll be cutting this down at some point and making this into videos in the next couple of days, along with all of the content that I'm going to be putting out. And it's going to be raw. I'm not doing intros, outros, or anything fancy with it. It's just going to be whatever the game was with a thumbnail that says, "This is live reaction, go." And that's how it's going to be. And I think you guys and gals are really going to, really, really enjoy it because it's like live from the show floor, live from the seat behind the camera, and it's raw and it's emotional, and you hear me screaming like a lunatic. Mrs. Boom was like, "Oh my God, I'm embarrassed. I only listened to one of them." So I get a little hyped, to say the least. So you're going to hear me in all my glory, cheering out like a lunatic. And I hope that's why you watch it, because you want to have fun. You want to hear me get excited. And all of those videos I'll have everything up by week's end, from everything that's like on this memory card right here. This has it all. I just have to get it into the PC and then get my software to actually work. And when it does, I will put them up there. with thumbnails, and I hope that you enjoy the content as much as I enjoyed making it. But ladies and gentlemen, that's going to do it for us. A big thank you once again for the ridiculous amount of super chats that came in today. Channel member chats, new sub members. We do greatly appreciate it. And of course, I'm going to close up the show with something that's incredibly important to me, folks. Hopefully one day will be important to you. And that's something that my dad taught us when we were kids. He'd say, Craig, treat others how you want to be treated. And also, it doesn't cost anything to be nice. You live by those rules, son. I can guarantee you, you're going to have an awesome day. So take care, everyone. And we'll see you next week on the newest episode of the Xbox Factor Podcast.